What's going on, gamers? Today we are back with another vault video. I have 6 characters to do today. I also have a shaman, probably won't show it just because I only did one key. It was a 15, doesn't really matter. And then we also have the Holy Paladin, but that will be reserved for my Zero to Hero series, which will be coming out later this week. So keep an eye out for that. Pretty excited. We have everything recorded, everything's all set up. I just gotta finish editing the video. So let's jump into these vaults. I have my rogue and my DH whose vaults are just kind of whatever, and then we'll have our mage who has like 6 slots, our druid, and then all of these guys have like all of their mythic plus slots done. So let us start with the rogue. I don't know how much longer I'm going to continue doing these vault videos. If you do end up enjoying, if you enjoy my reactions, let me know in the comments below. They're just, as the season gets later and later, I think it becomes less and less attractive to watch these, but I'll continue doing them as long as you guys are enjoying them. So here we're going to open our loot for sub. We are seeing a chest that we ended up looting last week. So we're probably not going to take that. And then our haste verse belt for over a crit mastery belt probably will only take since it'll be a free upgrade. So what's cool about this new system is that if you've looted something at a higher level in that slot, everything else up to that point becomes free. So we have a crit mastery belt, which are kind of like the best stats for rogue currently. And we're gonna be able to take this belt and then upgrade our gear for basically free, which is super cool. I could have taken coins there, and coins will come in like handy later down the road. But the rogue is something that I've been really casually working on, so I'm not too worried about being able to farm worm crusts and stuff. And now we take our crit mastery belt, and look at this. It now doesn't cost drakes. All the way up to 7 of 8, it'll be free. And then 8 of 8, it'll just cost 1 worm crest. So we're actually going to be able to slime this upgrade, and we're now looking good. Something else that came out this week is the creation / inspiration catalyst. Now, I don't know if we need to accumulate a charge, but we should be able to head over there and see what's going on. I do have this 441 tier chest, or non-tier chest, that I could turn into tier. And since I looted it from the vault, I'll be able to upgrade it in future weeks. So it does look like the catalyst is open. It does cap out at 8, which is good. So I can turn some of these pants into tier. I can ideally turn this into tier, which will be high verse mastery. I think I'm going to end up doing that on this piece, just because once 10.15 comes out, if I'm not mistaken, actually we'll be able to upgrade this to 447. So this will be our first piece of tier. Something else I can do, though, is I could actually do the shoulders instead, which won't mess with my 4-piece, and I can still wear them. They're slightly better stats with higher crit on them instead of verse. And I can get an extra version of the, whatchamacallit, the transmog. So I think we might actually go shoulders instead. But you can also, I guess, catalyze off pieces as well, like belt, for example, the thing we just upgraded. It'll be crit haste, probably won't be doing that. Of course, our bracers would go haste mastery, probably wouldn't want that. We can also do cloak, which would be verse, high verse, low mastery. Probably, it's actually like the same cloak we already have on, so that would be stupid outside of transmog. But again, we can do that for those shoulders there, which would be great. Now, I'll have to do some research actually before I end up using the catalyst, so I'm going to sit on this charge for a little bit of time. Sitting on charges isn't a bad thing either if you're waiting, and they should accumulate on alts regardless of if you're playing them or not. So keep that in mind. But yeah, catalyst is open this week, which is awesome. Once again, this is a character I only did my weekly on last week. Weekly as in the 4 mythic dungeons. So I have 2 vault slots on this character. I am going to be opening this as Vengeance for a chance at maybe a defensive trinket. This is a character I'm slowly working on building out. But again, I'm still 419. I've looted a couple of like pretty solid rings, but I haven't really looted anything else outside of a ton of cloaks and necklaces. So let's open this vault up and see what we can snag. Okay, so we got a crit verse chest with speed, which is pretty solid. And we have crit verse bracers, which are also pretty good. Right now we're seeing this very interesting kind of shift from like a haste verse centric build to more of a haste crit, though versatility is still solid. Now, the fact that this has a tertiary stat on it might be beneficial. It is only speed, but it is a pretty massive item increase over what we have. And in the future, over the next upcoming weeks, we'll be able to slowly create our 4 set. So I think we're going to go with the chest on this one. The bracers are cool, but again, lower item level, probably not going to catalyze them as quick. And both of these are technically farmable. So I could even take tokens if I want. If you guys remember or aren't aware, you can actually use coins, the aspect tokens of merit, to buy crests. So you have to do a little less farming. 2 tokens gets you 1 crest. So if I took 6, for example, or at least in this case, if I took 4 from my vault, I would be able to buy 2 worms crests or 2 drakes crests, which would be fun. You can also buy sockets, of course, which is typically what they're known for being used. But if your character's kind of a new, fresh guy like this, and your vault's maybe not so great, maybe it's worth taking crests so you can upgrade some of that Mythic Plus loot later on. Now, this chest I'm going to probably hold on to for a bit since it will replace my tier, which I don't really want to do yet. And we'll eventually catalyze this, and yeah, we'll be one step closer to our 4 set. I think I said this in my last video, but my Mage is something that I've been working on pretty hard to get ready for raid. Our raid team, unfortunately, kind of doesn't have a Mage right now, and I guess I was the best pick. So, unfortunately, I will no longer be tanking raid, but instead playing the Frost Magician. We're going to be opening this as Frost. I don't think it really matters. It actually, for sure, doesn't matter. But we'll just open this up. All right. That's pretty interesting. So, I did a full heroic clear, and I also did a bunch of keys. I went all the way up to 18. Now, I think it would be stupid to pass on some of these trinkets because both of these, if I'm not mistaken, are best in slot, and I'm going to probably look up sub creation in a second, but that's massive. The chromatic essence is pretty big. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some pretty other cool items in here, like the time breaching talon with speed. We also have the indestructible silk cuffs of Sky Captain. What's also cool about the Mythic Plus row is, again, these should be upgradable in 10.1.5 when they add the new Myth progression track. But with how strong these trinkets are from the raid, I think I'm going to end up doing that. So Blood Mallet is a site that I've shown off in the past. What it looks like is this, and you can basically go into whichever class you're looking for. It does everything but healers for the most part. But we can click here on Frost Mage, and it's going to show us what the current top sims are. Now, of course, you're going to see the Chromatic Essence for single target at the top as long as you have every buff available. Now, that's awesome, of course, if you are in a raid setting or in a Mythic Plus setting where every single person in your group has it, and you have all of the different buffs active, and you get the buffs by going to one of the Oath Stones that you kind of discovered throughout the questing campaign for Dragonflight. Now, right after that is Neurax's Spiked Tongue from Neltharion Slayer, followed by the Vessel of Searing Shadow. Both are solid. In a I'm solo content perspective, the Vessel will be a little bit better, but in group content, it looks like the Ominous Chromatic Essence might be a little bit stronger. Now, I don't really plan on doing Mythic Plus on this character. I only plan on doing it in raid. I think our raid, we cover all of these essences as well, and the Vessel seems to be, I've seen this drop personally way more often than the Chromatic Essence. So with that being said, I think when we continue to do our hero clears and mythic clears, this trinket will probably drop at the highest item level, which I'll be able to snag quite nicely or easily. Quite English. Coming back in game, I think I'm going to commit to the Chromatic Essence here, though it does make me sad to not take this. And these items having speed and indestructible are pretty cool. Indestructible, not so much. I don't really care, but having the extra speed is kind of cool on a time breaching talon. That's kind of fitting. All right, so we have our essence, and I think we'll go upgrade it really quick and call it a day. All right, the Prot Warrior / Arms Warrior is something I've been working on since the start of the season. I am already 431. I guess that's, I consider that to be pretty good. I am missing, I'm still wearing like my old set, for example. So I think this week I can get a pretty massive glow up. I think if I'm fortunate enough, I should be able to spike up to probably closer to 440 than I am to 430. That seems slightly optimistic, but I'm still sitting on all of my crafts. I still have all 3 of my sparks. I have a handful of crests as well that I can make. And I have an Omni token and these things with these gloves with leech that I plan on using in the catalyst. And I also have a few other items that are just like better item level upgrades. I'm just not wearing yet because I'm just not. So Fingers crossed I can get, if I'm not mistaken, I want chest or shoulder tier. And then I use my Omni token on the opposite. I don't think I want the pants tier because the pants tier is pretty meh. But we'll see. So we'll generate loot. I think we'll go prot though. All going arms would be cool. The only thing that I would really want would be like Mark of Dargrul, where if I open it as that as well, I can't get a shield, which would be a massive upgrade. Though I think I'll end up making a shield. I'm not sure yet. Oh, that also being said, we get an extra spark this week. Okay, and actually not too bad. Talisman of the Cragshaper, very strong defensive trinket for most tanks. It's a 1-minute cooldown and it prevents 50% of all damage taken up to a maximum of absorb value. That absorb value multiplier is based off of versatility. So classes that stack verse, at least tanks that stack verse, will benefit a lot from this. It also has verse on it, which is cool. So a 50% absorb or 50% DR on a 400k absorb is pretty big on a 1-minute cooldown. I don't know how many warriors are actually using this, but I think we would take this over everything else since the other two are farmable. And this, in my personal opinion, has been a lot more uncommon to find in keys because of the loot table. If you look at the loot table across the board for most dungeons, typically you'll see anywhere between like 6 and 8 pieces of loot, where Neltharion Slayer for a lot of classes has upwards of 11 to 12. So even if you do happen to get loot from that run, the chance of it being the piece that you actually need, very, very small. So I think we're going to go with Talisman of the Cragshaper. I'm very happy with this pick. A little sad I didn't get tier, which means that I am going another week without the tier set on this character, which is something I was looking forward to. I will get a chance to clear some of the raid this week, so maybe I can snag a Zenith token. But again, chances of that happening, probably pretty low. Not too shabby though. I'm actually super stoked about that. Our Guardian Druid is pretty loaded. I'm 437, 438 bags. I think it's because I'm still wearing a whetstone for damage, though I do have Ward of the Faceless Ire, and I also have Treemouse Festering Splinter, so we're kind of good in that sense. Something that I would like to see for my vault is probably like a cloak. My cloak is like my last piece that's super low, so if I can replace that, that would be stupendous. Gramsman Gold. That's kind of funny. All right, we are going to set our loot spec to Guardian just to make sure. The only thing like that would be cool is like a bigger splinter or something like that. There isn't a lot my Guardian Druid can still get. The gearing acquisition this patch, again, this is a fucking dead ass topic, a beaten horse, but it's so powerful this season that I've just been able to get everything that I want. So it looks like we're going to probably end up taking the helm, though we did get a cloak here from our, we did get a helm at 447 from our vault. Probably don't take the neck because it's a little bit lower level. 444 cloak would replace my gold scar pelt, and that is the item that I'd be looking out for. But the problem with it is that it's high crit mastery. Now, personally, my plan was this week was to more than likely craft my. We get one more craft now for this week, so I'd probably craft a cloak instead, since I don't really need anything else outside of maybe a weapon. But a weapon would take 2 sparks instead of 1. So if I craft a cloak, that means I can take the helm, which would be a 6 itemable upgrade. Pretty big. I don't really think there's much thinking to that then. I think we just full send it. So yeah, my plan for my bear is possibly undulating spore cloak with the removing the toxic patch from my belt. So yeah, that's a pretty big helm increase. So I'm actually that's it. That's it's nothing to it. Yeah, we're now 439. And if I put on like Ward of the Faceless Ire, I'm now 439 equipped. That's pretty sick. It's pretty cool. Though I'm going to keep on Whetstone because I like the damage. All right, last but not least, we have the Brewmaster / Windwalker. This week, I actually spent a lot of my keys DPSing instead of tanking. And the reason for that is just I have some friends who are interested in learning how to tank, and I've been able to DPS their keys, and it's been a lot of fun. It's also fun learning it kind of like the other side of the coin. When you DPS in keys as a tank player, you kind of learn maybe something that another tank might do. You get to kind of get that insights, but you also get to experience how tank positioning affects your damage or how pulls are structured. And it's a nice learning experience because it actually will then, if you're paying attention enough, it'll give you kind of that insight and that foresight to help kind of plan things around your DPS instead of just kind of having a tank brain where you're just pulling based around your stuff. And it's a nice little relaxing experience. So I'm going, well, not relaxing. We are going to open this, I think, as Brewmaster still. There are a few things that I would like to see at a higher item level. For example, like higher trinkets and just general 447 loot. So let's open this up. I didn't raid this week. On this character, I just did keys. Oh, sick. I wish this was a Forge Storm. It's not. It's a huge bait. So that's what that is. But 447 tier shoulders. Direct upgrade. Super chill. I will just be taking that instead. I think 6 item levels on a mainstead item is better than taking socket. So we will snag these, throw them on, and we're good to go. Nice. I kind of like those shoulders a lot. Yeah, those are good looking. All right. Well, that pretty much does it. That was a pretty quick vault video. Like I said before several times, Creation Catalyst is open, and we also get another Spark this week. So you should see actually a pretty massive power spike for a lot of your characters. If you're someone who hasn't really raided or maybe has gotten really unlucky, you can now start acquiring your 4-set. If anything, you should at least have a 2-set bonus now, right? Because you will have 1 Creation Catalyst, and if you hit 2 KIO, which is pretty easy to do, I would say, you should be able to snag a Omni token, which you can turn in down under. That was oddly sexual. You can go to Zarelek Caverns and turn them in at the Obsidian Rest, way up here near the raid entrance in this broken house. So here's Loam. You head straight north. You'll see like a broken house and a flight point. Go there, turn your Omni token, and you'll be set. The affixes this week is Bursting Storming. We haven't seen Bursting before. We have seen Storming earlier, and it's a fortified week, so good luck out there. I will be doing a ton of keys. And yeah, some pretty cool stuff coming this week. We have a 0 to Hero challenge. We also might have another coaching video. It seems like a lot of you guys really liked that style of video, so I'll be doing something like that again. Anyways, I'll see you guys over on stream, and I will catch you all later. Peace. Oh, and good luck in your vaults. Bye.